Good morning, YouTube. We finally have that mythical, cheap $25,000 Tesla that we've been waiting forever for.
But this thing's kind of like dangerous, and like you wouldn't want a cheap Tesla because what's the problem with it? Why is it so cheap?
Well, it is the special edition Hertz Fail.
Like an actual Hertz, like there's H in the VIN or something?
No. The Hertz rental car, like a Hertz rental racer back in the 60s for the Mustangs. It is the Hertz, I failed at doing an EV conversion to my fleet edition, and they are dumping all of their electric cars that they bought. They touted this a couple of years ago, spending billions of dollars to buy 100,000 Tesla Model 3s mostly to update and electrify, there we go, electrify their fleet. And it was a massive, massive failure, both on Tesla's part and on Hertz's part.
Right.
So the cars weren't really built to take the abuse of renters.
Well, I feel like I'm different than all of you guys, every single one I'm lumping in together, who just abuse and annihilate
That's what rental cars are for.
No, it's not. Rental cars are to help you when you travel, not to just beat up and like manhandle. Am I allowed to say
Jake mentioned full speed over speed bumps. Absolutely, yes. There was one that I had where there was a really good jump going into the hotel where I could get the front wheels off the ground and just rip. It was awesome.
You're going to be banned from rental cars.
The older ones, you could do like neutral drops, you know. I always wanted the Crown Victorias and like the Mercury Grand Marquis, those big full-size things, and I would just drive the heck out of them.
Really?
You know? Drifting them in the parking lots.
What?
Handbrake turns on the front-wheel drive cars, really, really, really fun. Back when they still had the pull for the handbrake and everything's on the front wheel, so when you lock up the rear, it spins right around and you can get the, you know, go into the parking stall that way. You never did that with any?
No, never.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's dangerous. Like you can't do that. It's not even your car. Like you have to like be nice and gentle.
Especially if you have the insurance, but you know, it's kind of the insurance kind of a scam because your own personal insurance is covered by it.
Right. So why do you have to pay the full coverage on top of it?
But
there's some loophole there that we're missing.
Teslas weren't really built to take that abuse.
Okay.
And so they were having a lot of downtime. Also, when things did break, it wasn't easy to source parts and fix them the next day.
Right.
So a lot of these cars were down for a long time. It didn't work out for Hertz because these cars were getting returned with issues, and then it would take Tesla too long to fix them to where it wasn't economically viable. But on Hertz's fault, all of their locations, they could have had fast chargers installed, but many of them didn't.
Right.
So just normal, you know, 110 outlet
that takes forever.
plug-in. So yeah, 2 or 3 miles per hour charging.
Yeah. That's impossible.
If they showed up without a full charge, which meant, you know, on a 300-mile range, that's, well, there's my wheels turning in the head. Okay, 10 hours. 10, 12 hours to recharge it.
It's insane. And when you're renting a car, you're usually traveling and you don't have an extra 10 hours to spare to charge a car.
Well, no, I'm talking about when it was returned at Hertz and they don't have a normal plug-in for it to get it all charged up quickly and send it out to the next person.
Right.
And that was the issue. So
they're
Hertz was
getting rid
like,
of them.
bye-bye.
Are these going to be all like parts Teslas, like all parted out or something?
No,
they're
for sale with a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty. See, here's all of them for sale. They all have, you know, somewhere between 30 to 60,000 miles on them.
Not a
the
lot.
average price is around $25,000. So finally, we have the $25,000 Tesla that everybody was wanting to do. It was supposed to be the Model 2 that was unveiled, and it was supposed to be some crazy modular build, like really cheap way to build and have a very affordable electric car for the masses. And that seems to have been abandoned entirely. There's no mention of it. They say that it's not, but they're not moving forward with anything on it. So I think that Tesla has figured out that there's no money in cheap cars.
Right.
Same with Ford. The Ford Maverick Hybrid starts at $20,000. And if they built 1 million of those a year, they would sell 1 million of them a year. But they won't. They just refuse to. Because then they wouldn't be able to sell their Rangers. They wouldn't be able to sell their expensive F-150s because everybody would be like, "Oh, wow, this does everything I need, and it gets 40 miles per gallon, and it costs 20 grand, and I can pick my color." No,
so how bad of an idea is it to buy one of these really cheap Teslas?
Well, it comes with a 1-year, 12,000-mile warranty.
Yeah.
I would put every single one of them up on the lift and make sure that there's no damage to the undercarriage, because all that armor underneath is designed to protect the battery, and if it has any punctures or dents in it or anything like that, then eventually the battery may not be bad at the moment, but it could be in the future if water is able to get in there or something else. Because that's probably the number one thing that I think would happen to these if somebody's, doing hoopty rental things too.
They sound really dangerous. They're like little bombs about to explode if they've got holes in the battery.
Not really. They just short out and then slowly burn for days.
Yeah.
That's what electric cars do. So we talked about Tesla and how that their new inventory was piling up, that they were renting a shopping mall, for example, to store extra cars. Well, now there's actually an article on Jalopnik that says so many unsold, now these are new Teslas, are piling up that you can see them from space.
So you can see the Great Wall. Well, not all of it. They took some of it down, right? But the Great Wall of China.
Right.
And what else can you see from space? And Teslas, apparently.
Well, I think it's kind of silly because you could pretty much see anything from space now with the satellites and zooming in and all that stuff.
Right.
But they're saying that around Tesla's factories that they're so piled up with cars, like just acres and acres and acres of cars, that it is now visible from space.
So what are they going to do with all these cars?
Well, there was some corporate speak to it. Tesla's chief financial officer says the primary driver of this was an increase in inventory from a mismatch between builds. We expect the inventory built to reverse in the second quarter, and free cash flow to return positive again, because they had like $2.5 billion in cash, piled up, and they're spending it on, AI and all, because Tesla doesn't want to be a car company anymore. They want to be something else.
Yeah.
So, they're not looking very good financially in the piled up cars and all that stuff. But they're saying, don't worry, it's going to be fine here in a couple of months.
I feel like after living in Kansas now for a few months more than that, they should kind of line up all those Teslas that they're not selling somewhere in Kansas or Oklahoma, and the amount of tornadoes that come through.
Oh, for the insurance?
I didn't say, you said, I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
The thing is they self-insure. Companies big like this, like Hertz, they don't have insurance. They just self-insure themselves.
Okay, so
Tesla,
then they couldn't do that.
No, they would just destroy their own cars.
Right.
That wouldn't work.
I'm trying, Elon.
They need to sell
I'm trying to come up with ideas for you.
They need to sell them. Hertz needs to sell off its 100,000 rental cars that they screwed up, the rollout of that. And once all these cars hit the streets, how do you charge them, especially in the mean streets of Chicago and all that stuff? And there's one thing that I saw that was really cool as far as just sitting on power poles. And you get on the app for your EV charging, and then it just comes down the power pole like it's, kind of happy to see you, or I don't know.
Or just not very happy, just kind of like, okay, his little limp like hanging down.
I guess it comes out like a limp noodle that comes out of the power transformer down to the ground, and that way you have your street parked electric car, you can just plug it in. I think it's pretty smart.
Is that actually a thing?
That's a real thing that they're going to start doing, yes.
Because that seems dangerous. There's so much voltage in those power lines, I feel like you're just asking for it. If it's like raining or misting, you're trying to plug in your car and you're in a puddle of water, and they're just like, something's going to happen. You're going to turn into like an electrified, like your spikes are going to go even like, psh. I don't know if it's possible. I don't think they can get spikier.
Okay. I don't know what's more dangerous, plugging in an electric car or when you're filling up your car with gasoline.
Okay, fine.
And what happens? Somebody lights up a cigarette, or you accidentally get some on the ground and the car starts up. So gasoline isn't the safest thing to fill up either. So
gasoline is so dangerous.
This seems better. There'll be less incidents with this versus like my mom, for instance. One time, somebody drove off with the gas still in the fuel filler.
Yeah.
And it pulled, it has that safety pull.
Right.
But as it pulled it out, the pressurized gas, and it sprayed right in her face. And she was blinded. Like someone had to take her by the hand, take her to the gasoline restroom. She washed her eyes out. An ambulance showed up to flush her eyes. This was 20, 30 years ago. I'm not sure if they updated the safety-wise. And she came in, like her eyes were red. She looked terrible. I was a kid. It was very traumatizing.
That's why she is so stunning. She looks like your sister. And I guess that's the youth miracle right there, putting gasoline on your face. No, don't. That is not.
You're giving all kinds of bad advice. Like, Elon, just burn your car to the ground. Oh, wait, you don't have insurance. Put gasoline on your face. Well, a tornado. Sorry, but yeah.
It's a big problem, and I don't know how we're going to fix it because those cars they're going to be losing their range, and people aren't going to be wanting them, and the price is going to keep going down and down and down.
Well, because last winter in Chicago with all the charging
It was a
mishaps and all
disaster.
that, like there needs to be a lot more of a charging network, and I think this is a pretty cool, easy solution just because there are already power poles everywhere. I mean, you're hooking up literally right off the transformer, boom, and
Right.
you hit a button and hello, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
why
in
not?
cold climates, it doesn't make sense. Like we were just in
It would shrink a little bit and not come down all the way? Is that what you mean?
Actually, yes, that's what the battery does.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just in the Bahamas, and they have tons of cubes. Okay, the Borg cubes,
The Nissan
amazing
cubes, yes.
cars. I was playing a game with his friend on how many cubes we could spot because you just don't see them around here. But I feel like they should send this fleet of Teslas to warmer climates so those batteries can have their long range capabilities and just keep them going. Because you can't drive them up north. You can't drive them in Chicago through the winter. It's a
Diminished
disaster.
range is certainly an issue. A lot of obstacles, but a lot of EVs for sale right now, especially from Hertz, and 25 grand is worth it.
Not unless you drove it.
$25,000
You
and then
rented
$99 a
it.
month for the full self-driving where you can
No.
just sit back, relax, and cruise.
Can you see
Wonderful.
the rental history? Because then I'll be like, only
Oh,
if
no.
females have rented it, then they're safe. Because you guys
no.
are just like crazy.
No.
When you drive.
Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, people don't buy X
You
rentals.
beat
That's-
up cars so bad when you drive them.
Yeah.